That's outrageously stupid.
Good evening, Dennis.
Hello, how are you?
How are you with your technical difficulties this evening?
Well, it's true. I did spill my beer on my keyboard earlier, which caused a delay of the program. But here's the worst of it.
That sounds like a tech country song.
What's that?
I spilled my beer on my keyboard. I don't know. It sounds like a sort of, my wife ran off with my truck and my dog country song.
Right. That would fit in there with the
and now my space bar is stuck.
Heel on my cowboy boot.
Well, we could do sort of a tech version of that where I spilt my beer on my keyboard and my mouse scurried away. And
that's bad.
No.
Mouse scurried away. It's very weird.
And my printer has a paper jam.
You could work that in there somewhere.
We're doing Office,
So I spilled half my damn beer, and now this is my last beer. I called my wife and said, "Listen, this is an emergency." She said, "What?" I said, "I don't have enough beer for happy hour podcast." And she said, "What's that station again?" And I said,
happyhour.fm.
And so anyway, here we are, and that's my last beer. And after that, it's going to be a short show.
Oh man,
because I don't do it.
I'm sad now. Your keyboard was so thirsty.
Yeah, well, the floor. I threw the computer up on the bedding, so now there's a big beer smelly. I put some water on it, but it smells like a brewery in here. My wife will come home and say, "Did you spill beer in there?" I have to open the window to air it out. She'll say, "Why it's so cold in here, and why does it smell like beer?" And then she'll put it together.
Well,
and I'll say, if I have my way, this is another week at best. My office is being maneuvered. I've just bought the last piece I need to set up my office, and so I'll move the little sound studio into a permanent location.
Good.
Or at least while I can get up the stairs, which at least a few weeks.
Well, if it's going to smell like beer, it should smell like cold beer, right? That's the best beer.
Yeah, but once you spill beer, it doesn't stay cold. Really.
Yeah, I know.
Unless you're outside. Then it freezes.
Well, then...
How about beersicles?
Beersicles. There's a moneymaker.
Right?
Yes. Hey.
Sell it frozen in a plastic cup.
Beercicle. Well, why not on a stick that you lick it off, like a popsicle?
Well, you pull it out of the cup to do that, but then you have a cup to put it in when you want to set it down. Pull it right out of the cup, lick it, and then lick it a while and put it back in the cup. A cup is extra. Beercicle.
This is genius, Dennis. We need to write this down. I'll buy the domain name, and we'll...
So, and the big thing is, it's delivered on a bicycle. So you got a built-in jingle.
Beercicle bicycle. Nice. Buy a beercicle on a bicycle. Buy
Bingo.
Buy a sickle. We can sell sickles too.
Yeah. So what are you drinking, young buck?
Beercicle.
It is happy hour. Beercicle on a bicycle.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I don't know. You gotta cycles.
Gotta play with this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we're workshopping here. We're throwing shit up onto the whiteboard and seeing what sticks.
I think you're mixing your analogies. I think it's you throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks.
Oh.
Or toilet paper.
Well,
not a whiteboard.
Stop. No. It's going to be a brown board soon enough.
Brown board. Very nice. Right to the potty talk. You're
the one throwing toilet paper.
It's amazing we have any listeners. It is. Because you're so perverted. Who wants to listen to this? You're making poop jokes.
Other Brooklyn pervs. I don't know.
Right. The house load of you.
Right.
Imagine all your walls are painted brown so that when you throw your shit upon it, that it mixes right in.
Yeah, well, your walls are probably...
Makes me want to stutter like Joe Biden.
Your walls are probably amber. Throwing all that amber beer around.
Or mahogany.
Mm-hmm.
Or copper.
Copper.
It's a variation of an amber, as is a red. all different colors, but all in the same family. Yeah.
The copper family.
The amber family.
I like copper
Well,
as a word better than amber myself.
Well, we could wear them both in together.
Okay.
Copper amber.
And you know who makes the casks that the copper goes into?
Cooper.
The copper cooper.
It's got to be onomatopoetic.
Yes. The copper. What do you do for a living? I'm a copper cooper.
Yeah.
I'm a copper cooper.
You can't even say it. This is pretty amusing. Go ahead. I got an hour till you get it right. Go ahead. Try it again. Don't look at me.
And I work at the Copper Cooper Co-op. I'm trying to recoup my Copper Cooper costs.
Very good. Very good.
Okay.
You became untongue-tied.
That's
good. It's good to see you hit yourself in the chest when you get stalled.
That's the content that people are tuning in for. You know.
Little. Well, yeah. Yes, they are.
Recoup the Copper Cooper costs.
By the droves. Have you checked our Uruguay figures lately?
They're in the pooper. It's not good.
Well, we were 642. Are we better than that?
No, they've abandoned us. They've gone to listen to more interesting Spanish language happy hour podcasts.
Let's just do it in Spanish.
La hora feliz.
I see.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, man, that's right. So you do a good impression of a bobblehead doll. I wish people could see it. You should be doing a little bit of video yourself now and then and look at it because it's quite amazing.
I try to nod to give you reinforcement for your utterances.
No, that's not what this is. It's what you do in between as you bob your head. I don't know. It's all right.
Well, we can.
I can always shrink your image, so I don't have to see you. Now, go ahead and dim your background like you do.
I don't even know where that button is.
I'd like to learn how to do that.
I can find it. Blur my background. Here it goes. Ready?
Yep. Oh, boom! It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, last time we did this, you had a sound issue. But it was happenstance. It happened a minute, but it wasn't related, I don't think.
No, I think my sound is okay now.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Right. So here we are.
Here we are once again. Did you do anything interesting this weekend with your tent garage?
We moved toward appraisal. I put all the hardware on all the old windows. And didn't get it all finished, but did 90% of it. So
moving towards appraisal
of the house to refinance, consolidate the various construction and renovation loans into one decent, affordable mortgage, which was the goal set and established a year ago that we would refinance twice, and each time it would allow us to raise more money to finish, and then we would have at least a value in it of what we put in it. And so that's where we're headed.
So when is that going to happen? Is that within...
December 3rd, my birthday.
So soon.
It's a good sign. Another good sign, the appraiser's name is Manny. I've never met a Manny I don't like.
Okay.
I've never met one I don't. And I asked my realtor neighbor, she's like, oh man, I want to get hopes up about price or anything like that.
Oh,
but
Manny.
everybody says, Manny, yeah, Manny.
All right.
Like, whoa, all right. Got to lay it out there for him.
Manny.
Throw some paperwork around. Tell him what we got in it. Play the game.
Nice.
And, the thing is that a bank isn't allowed to take into account what we're doing for the house in terms of how the neighborhood is improved. And the fact is that our improved lot here, which was the worst lot on the street, next to the largest and most historic lot on the street, which is acres, with 2 homes on it and all fenced in.
You're raising the tide and raising all the boats.
Yes, but and so the value of the property would be even better for our house and for others. But the thing that they can't address is this issue of how good is it for this house, right? As part of the planet, the mass of this house that was degenerating and deteriorating, being eaten alive by insects and drowned with leaks and
as we have covered
sinking,
on the
as we
same
have
program.
covered in episodes 1, 4, 16, 20, 18.
Yes.
Well, but anyway, right, as we've covered.
Yes.
And we have evidence and proof, probably the best record of it. But the intrinsic value of the house is for the house's sake. This house, to me, deserves this loving care and this renovation because it is a unique property. It's built in a way that's just really attractive.
It sounds like you're sort of putting this sort of animism on the house, as if the house has its own soul that you're.
But the house is
or
of
spirit.
souls. Houses of souls.
So the previous souls that lived there deserve for the house that they loved to be continually cared for. Is that yes? That's
a big part of it. Yes.
Okay.
There's more though.
And the banks don't take into consideration the house souls.
Someone would say in there that it's unique, and because of its unique nature, they could, it could bump it a little bit. So they could take that into account, but often they don't. And they're really not promising you what the market value is. They're giving you the loan value with a 80%, 20% ratio. So if your house is, going to be worth, $225,000, they're going to appraise it at 170.
Right.
And they got to say that in order to get that loan. But anyway, it's a long story, boring as shit.
But if you buy the worst house in the neighborhood and fix it up so that it's no longer the worst house.
Now it is on the block, one of the nicest structures.
But it was not. It was the worst.
The worst. And there weren't any bad ones besides this. Not a one. And we were next to the mansion, or are next to the mansion. That is this huge lot. Old style, big pillars.
So how do the owners of the currently worst house feel now? Because I
don't know who
they weren't the worst, because they always had your house to point to, and then you came in and made it one of the best, and now they're at the bottom of the pack.
So it's a little block, and there aren't any bad houses.
Okay,
there aren't any, because the big mansion, when you go south on the street, gives way to yet another mansion, and then you're at the end of the block on a big corner lot that's a very big house. So it's not a big block. And then going north, our neighbor's house is quite nice, cottage or a certain style. I can't draw a blank on the name of it, but pretty, and a little fenced-in yard, and then that's it. And they're all good. So the worst on the block anymore, you can't. It doesn't. It's not on the. It's not on the spectrum.
Wow.
But it's true. Objectively, of course, it's true. There is a worse house.
Right. Mathematically.
But yes, but that doesn't capture the moment at all.
Well, don't you just live in a nice hoity-toity neighborhood then? Fall between the mansions.
Well, right. So now you can put into some better perspective my wife's depreciation of my tents, which I put up.
I get it now.
Yeah, see, I now have, as I look out the window.
Because the mansions don't have tents. They have their servants' quarters, and you've got your tarp tent.
Where I have tents, they have parked BMWs and Mercedes.
Right.
And so I built the tent garage, which is functional, and will let us know where to put our garage.
Yes.
Next year. And another one is where we're going to put our fire pit. And another one is where I'm going to add on to the shed I have and build a garden shed, and they'll all be gone.
Wait, you have a tent where you're going to put your fireplace?
Garden shed.
Wait, your fire pit. You said.
No. The tent is there. The tent will be removed, but that corner of the yard, which it's an L-shaped yard, so it overlooks the acreage. And if I raise the like a 3-step up to a raised area that looks out to the back, the fence that's there now, which is 4 feet high, will appear to be at your knees.
You'll be able to see over the fence.
So completely. Well, that doesn't capture it. It's like the fence disappears.
Okay.
See, it disappears.
Clever.
Right. So, and then you know what?
That's a whole new perspective. Really.
I'm going to watch him rake it. I'm going to watch him mow it. He's got workers, they come in with a truck and
right, of course,
and they blow the leaves and they do all this stuff. And I'll just sit there and watch it, enjoy it. it's so great that I can look at it and not own it. It's one of the best things.
Yes.
It's actually to the value of the property because our yard is on that side of the house, which is the southern side. And they have beautiful trees. And that's where most of our windows that let the light in are all on the south side. The place is built.
Well, in Michigan, that's where the sun is, especially these days. I've noticed very clearly when I start taking my kids to school in September, when we go to school at the time to go to school, the sun is on one side of a building, and now it's totally on a different place because and of course my son said, "Why is that?" And I was like, "Well, the Earth is tilted in its orbit and blah blah blah," and he was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever."
So you obviously sparked his interest.
Yes, I'm a regular Carl Sagan of science. Science education.
Oh,
no, well, it was time. It was time to go to school. Get your so.
So I spent some time with little granddaughter today,
mm-hmm.
and we were sitting on a little couch in the bookstore where they also have a little cafe, and we'd ordered food, and she had eaten some food, and we sat there, and we were waiting for my wife to pick us up because we were out for late breakfast, little girl and I,
mm-hmm.
and
brunch they call it.
I said, do you want an apple? And she said, yeah. And I said, you want to go to the supermarket and get it? And she said, no, I don't. No. And I said, okay, well, we'll just sit here then. And she took me by the arm and she pushed me toward the door and she said,
"You go get it.
You get it."
Yep, that's children.
And I realized they sold apples in the place. I didn't have to leave, so they were right at the countertop.
Oh, that was nice.
It was a funny moment. No, I'm good, but I do want that apple. And go and get it for me, and just kind of like helping me up, right? She does that.
Hey,
I act like I'm heavy, and she goes, oh, like she's lifting me, like all grandpas do.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a glorious time.
That's
so wonderful.
Like the Garden of Eden. Hey, Adam, go get me that apple.
Actually, well, let's not go there now. This was a pleasant memory until you brought your religion into it.
Yes, well, okay.
You Spaniards are all alike.
I apologize. I watched a classic musical movie with my youngest fell asleep immediately with my eldest, who is 10 years old, the other night. A movie by the name of Grease.
John Travolta.
And Olivia Newton-John, who was like 30 years old at the time that they made it. And it had been many years since I'd seen it. And I did not realize that every single line was sexual innuendo. Every single line
in the entire movie,
in the whole movie, is
not just to a pervert like you, but to
all about it's all about sex. There's one scene where a condom breaks, and my daughter was like, "Wait, what just broke?" And it was like, "Oh Jesus, yeah, never mind." But
turn the channel.
But yeah, it was very, like, it was just all talking about, did she put out? Do you want to go and have a romp? And just all this, all that
sexual energy,
and sexual energy from
high school,
from 1978, depicting 1950.
High school?
Yeah, there's seniors in high school, which is that's what you're thinking about when you're a senior in high school, and but it was just, I wasn't so worried because all of that went shooting way over my head when I was a kid, and so none of it would have stuck with her.
Right, and it wasn't. Yeah, you had to be paying attention.
Right, and it reminded me of when I was a kid. I used to watch the TV show Cheers with my parents, and that was just nonstop sex talk all the time. It was just so adult. But as a kid, it was sort of funny. They had the laugh track, so you sort of knew when things were supposed to be funny. But then as a grown up, it Yeah, it was all just raunchy jokes all the time. But all couched in innuendo so that they could show it on primetime.
No pun intended.
Yes. Or all the puns intended. I'm not sure.
Well, no, you're not. You're not that clever. I don't think you could do it on purpose.
I don't think I could do one on purpose.
Be clever. You stumbled into it.
Okay, well.
This is how it goes. It's not intentional. It just. Oh, so tell me more about your brownstone in Brooklyn with all the other podcasters. I mean, I understand we've talked a lot about the kitchen, which only has one appliance that you all line up for, is a microwave. But what are the sleeping arrangements like? I mean,
it's mostly just sort of like there are bunks, but normally they're like you got to really go to bed early to get a bunk, and the rest is you just on the floor. And if it wasn't for Joaquin's Chihuahua, it would really be like
what? Joaquin's Chihuahua?
Yeah.
Who's Joaquin?
He's one of the other podcasters.
He has a Chihuahua?
Yeah, we take turns taking it out for a walk.
You all have a little dog like this?
No, just Joaquin.
Just the special ones. Oh, just Joaquin?
Yeah.
He's the only one?
Yeah. But, he's a good little dog.
Well, yeah, they're yippy-yap little varmints that remind me of little rats.
Yeah, we call him Don Quixote.
Oh. Have you gone to Rodriguez?
Not lately.
You should do so. Rodriguez is calling youth.
Youth. Yes.
Youth.
I remember my youth.
Youth is wasted on the young. Youth. It's a wasted on the young. Hey, I don't know what's the matter with these kids today.
I have a question for you. Can we get some follow-up on your wrist injury from episode 2?
Oh, yes.
How's that doing?
Yes. So it's it'll be a year in March, right? Yeah. A year in March. So when I tap on my wrist, like I'm doing here, right where the scar is, it sends the little tiniest numbing electricity up my middle 2 fingers of my hand, and those. It's not uncomfortable. It's just a little buzzy feeling in my fingers. And so there's that. In the morning, it's stiff. I still can't open as much, but it doesn't really hurt anymore.
Okay.
But the weird thing is, and stop me if I've said this, but when I touch anything cold, it feels like there's cold running water all over my hand. And it is so freaking weird because I touch an iron railing going up steps in the cold. And it'll feel like it's all wet. And I'll look at my hand and it's like, it ain't all wet. I mean,
that's pretty wild.
It's like, yeah. It's like talking head stuff. This ain't my hand. Who knows? But
so you drink your cold beer with the other hand?
No, I...
Because otherwise it might feel like your beer is spilling onto your keyboard or something.
Well, that was clever. That was funny. It's a kind of a quip. So there's a bigger joke in there. I know you have it in you. So go.
Well, I'm curious. So when you grab your cold beer, well, I guess if your beer is cold enough, it's going to feel wet anyway from the condensation. So. Well,
yeah, that's.
But it's not. Are you saying it's like running water over your hand?
Like I just.
Like your hand is under the faucet.
Not that tactile, just that it's gotten wet.
Okay.
Like I touched something that was ice cold wet.
Okay.
Right? And so I look at my hand to see if it's wet, and it's not wet.
Whoa. It's a dry hand. Well.
It's a dry hand.
Dry hand on a cold day.
A dry hand on a cold day is just enough to chap my lips.
Okay. That's
just standing on the corner with my hands up on my hips.
Ooh.
I knew you'd like that. I knew you would like that. But, so, anywho, as you would say, Anywho,
All right, well, you got anything else to say?
no, I called you. I mean, no, wait a minute. You called me.
I've got a story.
It's. Tell me a joke.
Tell you a joke.
Yeah.
Well, what sounds like a sneeze and is made out of leather?
I don't know.
A shoe.
That's pretty good. Your little accent there helped. Your little
A shoe.
Spanish, spent some time in Denmark kind of accent. American at its base. And I mean base.
Well, if your Copper Cooper meets the Cobbler
At the co-op?
at the co-op, then they can cooperate
Or not, maybe even cohabitate.
to make a shoe beer. A shoe. Okay.
A shoe.
Okay.
Right. Keep going with it. Come on, you're on a roll.
No, I'm not. I'm very much flat on the
Very
ground.
much stumbling. It's over.
I had lunch this weekend with a friend who is from India, and he recently went to a wedding of an Indian of some part of his Indian family in Australia, obviously, and he was there, and somebody came up to him and said, "Hey, are you from such and such a village?" And he said, "No, but I was born there. I didn't grow up there." And the person said, "Okay, great. Hold on. Let me go. I want to introduce you to someone." And he went and they found this little old lady. My friend is 70 years old, and the old lady was 80, 82, we'll say. And she was sort of hard of hearing, so they were like sort of shouting at her, "Hey, this is so and so's son." And it took her a while, but finally she understood, and she lit up like a, I don't know, like a candle, and said, "Oh, you're so and so's son," and hugged my friend. And only after that meeting did my friend work out that this woman was the neighbor of his parents at the time he was born. And in Indian tradition, when a new baby is born near in the neighbor's house, you go over and meet the new baby and bring over food and stuff and say, "Hi, new baby." So
Right.
He worked out that 70 years ago, this woman that he had not seen since met him as an infant.
And he was 70.
Yeah,
And she was 80.
80 something. At the time she was 12 or whatever. But
Right.
when you're 12, you go over and meet the new baby in the next door house.
You love that little baby when you're 12, of course.
But it
How amazing.
I know. And then they met at a wedding in Sydney after 70 years of that sort of serendipity is pretty wild.
Right. That's right.
But how often does that happen and we just don't notice? How often do you bump into someone that went to your preschool or whatever, and you don't remember them and they don't remember you, and
Right.
you just say, say, "Hey, get out of my way" or something in the grocery store, or whatever it is you do.
So I tell you the story at the Voice of the Wetlands Festival in Homa, that I was walking backwards away from the big stage in an open area heading toward the smaller stage, and the crowd was kind of sparse back there. And I was walking backwards, so I stumbled into somebody, and when I turned, it was Tony, who plays saxophone for the local blues band from Kalamazoo, and we were on the complete other side of the country,
Yes.
in the middle of nowhere on a cattle ranch.
I vaguely remember this. Yes.
Yes, and it was like, whoa.
Well, that wasn't the guy that you sold your house to.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That was the first meeting down there, and then another time, maybe it was that time. That the next time his wife was there as well, so she's marvelous. But we had so much fun. But that's that same kind of thing where,
Yeah.
right?
How are you here?
I mean, what are the odds? And like to both be to the proximity of literally bumping into each other.
Right, literally.
As opposed to being near or
Right.
seeing each other in a crowd or something of that nature.
A
But,
physical altercation took place.
well, it wasn't that severe. It was just a bumbling. Just a bumbling.
Wait, I have another story like this. When I first moved to Spain, my wife and I used to go to these salsa dancing classes. And there we met another guy that was there in the class, and so we got to know him and we became friends. And later, when we were socializing at some point, he said, "Hey, what part of the States are you from?" And I said, "North Carolina." And he said, "Oh, my nephew is in North Carolina at college," and I said, "Oh, really?" And he said, "Yeah." And he said, "It's at this college," and he named the town that my grandmother used to live in, and I said, "Oh, really? That's amazing. My grandmother lives there." And he said, "Yeah, he's studying golf course management in this town, and he works at the local country club." And I said, "Wait, that's the country club that my grandmother lives on. How can that be?" And turns out that like they knew each other. This random guy in Spain that I met, his nephew knew my grandmother on the other side of the world.
Oh my God!
Isn't that just
That's
crazy?
Just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Oh, so I have a story like this. So, a friend of mine, we're in a rented vehicle, which I was a national renter in the day, and meant that you could pick out your own vehicle when you got to the lot. You just grab it in a row. And I was a corporate member, so I had some points. So when
you just eye all the vehicles, and you're like,
just
that
pick one. And so we ended up getting this. It wasn't a whole lot left, but we ended up with this big pickup truck that had 4-wheel drive. So while we were working in Montana, we took a road trip all through the mountains, and I had heard about a place that served some exceptional, famous prime rib dripping off the side of the plate, and further, extravagant proportions of food in the high reaches of the Montana foothills and mountains. And it was a wild trip over crossroads, and we got lost, and we ended up finding it. And it was off the beaten path quite a bit, but from certain directions, not as hard to get to as it was for us.
Yes.
So we go in and we're talking, and I'm talking about this or that, and somehow we were talking about the hills and skiing, and I mentioned that I used to ski at a place called Cockaigne in western New York. Mm-hmm. And as I said it, a waitress stopped and was on her way to serve somebody, and she said, "Did you say Cockaigne?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Hey, I'm from Cherryville," which is the town where Cockaigne is. And as it turns out, here we are. She's a waitress. And she and I had skied at the same place, and she had worked there. My brother had worked there. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that there were two different long periods of time, because she was much younger than my brother. But it was one of those things where, what? Where are we?
Mm-hmm. So far, you feel like you're so far away from everything, and then there's a connection that pulls you back.
Right.
Wasn't it an Eric Clapton song? Cockaigne. No?
Well, not quite.
It wasn't about skiing?
Not quite, no.
It was about white powder?
No. It was indeed. It was indeed about the evil white powder. Yeah. My ski days were cut short when I catapulted. My front ski got stuck in the edge of where the plow had plowed the snow, and it had gotten cold, and it had kind of frozen, and my front ski dipped, and I went flying over the top of it, lost one of my skis, certainly, probably both of my skis, and ended up like a catapult, but my arms at my side, so I truly looked like a rocket for just a second. Mm-hmm. But the end result was that when gravity pulled me down, I landed on the side of my head and my shoulder, and knocked my shoulder out of joint. So I dislocated my shoulder, and that was the last time I skied. So the the thing they bring down, they throw you on the cot. You know, what is it called?
Sled?
Sled will work.
The stretcher sled?
Pneumatic sled.
Stretcher.
Stretcher. That's right. Right.
Although,
Not to be confused with Skechers, which is a new modern shoe company.
well,
For those listeners that are
modern.
just
Yes.
modern.
Modern for some of us.
Right. Well, modern's not my thing. You know what I mean?
Yes, I can see your whole steampunk recording setup you've got there.
Yeah, it's
You need to put some more coal on the fire and beer on the keyboard.
Well, it's a TV stand that's rickety. It's a 3-legged ladder stool with a box on it, weighted down by a wooden sculpture of a little baby deer sucking on its big mother's hind tit. And that's weighting down the box so the microphone doesn't tip it. The mother deer is just eating the grass and is bent over.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that's the setup.
We should call that Bambi. Your Bambi weight.
Well, I don't know. It's more of an antelope than a deer in a lot of ways. So I'm not quite sure what it is. But
do you still call baby antelope? Or are they still called fawns, like deer?
I would think so. Yeah, sure.
All right,
sure.
We'll put that on. That's on the record.
Put that in the show notes at
happyhour.fm/035 baby antelope name in the Googles, and we get back baby animal names. It's called a calf.
A calf.
Much like whales.
A calf. Huh. I'll be damned. That's weird.
Yeah. God, they're ugly too.
Oh, well, this isn't ugly.
Well, it might be a fawn then.
Might be a fawn. Maybe it is a deer. Maybe it's not an antelope. You know, it's hard to tell. I think maybe it is a deer.
All right, Dennis.
Yes.
Now that I'm on this website, we're gonna quiz you on some baby animal names.
Okay. I'm ready.
So, a baby alligator.
Allie.
It's called a hatchling.
A hatchling, of course it is.
Because it came out of an egg,
Yes.
so it's recently hatched.
Yes.
Armadillo.
A cocoon.
An armadillo has a pup.
A pup.
Yes.
An armadillo has a pup.
Yes.
Wow.
As are bat babies. Bat babies are also pups.
A bat baby is a pup?
So Bruce Wayne, when he became an orphan, was a pup. Yeah.
Well, he fell into the cave. He fell into the well.
Right.
When he was a pup.
Ooh, baby cockroach. It's called a nymph.
Yeah, that's right up your sleeve. I knew it.
Exciting.
I knew it. That's what you guys.
A baby dove is called a squab. Squab. All right. Well, I think we've exhausted this webpage. Let's read some more
How
Wikipedia.
many did I get right?
0.
What's the score?
0.
What did I win?
Dennis 0. The world.
Right.
Everything.
The internet.
Yes.
6. All right. Very good. Well,
hippopotamus is also a calf. A hound is also a pup. Duh. Yeah. All right. Here's one you can get. Kangaroo.
a Joey.
Yes. 1 point for Dennis. All right. That was all or nothing, so I think you won.
Great. I love these new rules.
Speaking of kangaroos, I was recently informed that I will be traveling to Sydney, Australia next year.
Really?
How cool is that?
It's like way cool. To do what?
I've got a friend there. It should be cool. So my friend there said, so do you want to come to Nippers?
I need an opener. Do you want to come to Nippers?
Don't you have a opener with a bell on it?
Well, I didn't have any beer. My wife is here with beer. Sorry, you
That's a
were
good
right in the middle.
Yeah, sorry. So my friend said, do you want to come to Nippers? And I was like,
You had to up there.
Say hi. Come around and say hi.
I'm not.
She's
Hi, Erik.
hello.
So this is an interesting opener. It is actually a gift from Chuck Colson. And it is a cross, a crucifix.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's like a key.
I see it, yeah.
Christ is the key, but it's also a file opener. And I'm not sure.
Beer is the path to salvation. Yes.
I'm not sure that was intended, but
Don't spill it all on the keyboard.
again, well, anyway,
Wait, would that be christening the keyboard? Okay.
it actually isn't working, which is proof that it's a miracle. It looks like it would open a beer, but it actually isn't.
Jesus disapproves of your drinking.
Jesus drank.
I know.
You'd shut up in a place and says, "What's this?
What's this water crap?
There's no more wine? To hell with that. It's time to partay." So I says, "Oh, look at all the wine." He's like, "Yeah, let's go. Whatever."
How
It
hard
worked.
can it be? Got it. All right. So,
Oh, Lord. A fat tire to boot. Oh, that woman. I
Praise-
tell you. I'm a lucky man.
praise your wife.
Tire.
yeah, so I'm going to be going to Sydney, and my friend that lives down there, down under, as they say, asked me, "So do you want to go to Nippers?" And I was like, Nippers? What the? Like it, I was, it doesn't, you know how they have
Right.
different names for everything down there. And
What is it?
good question. So I googled Nippers, and it said it's sort of like Boy Scouts. It's teaching little boys safety.
Little nippers.
Yeah,
Little nippers.
Little Nippers. And it turns out he, first of all, he asked, "Do you know how to swim?" And I said, "Of course I know how to swim." And apparently every weekend he goes and teaches this course about beach and water safety to local young children. And he asked if I
Good for him.
wanted to go and participate in that, and I was like, "Sure, what the hell?"
And you did?
I will. I said yes, I would, but
Oh, yes, but you haven't.
been there yet. So that could be interesting. He said, "Look, I'm not going to say it's dangerous, but if they say you can swim on this beach, you can swim anywhere." It's like, okay. And I looked at the map, and it's on the eastern side of Australia, which, as far as I can tell, is the place where it's the longest distance to any other land on the planet, because you have to go all the way around to like Chile to get to land. So we'll see if I survive that. If not,
Right.
may these be my
So
final
how long will you
words.
be there? A couple weeks or just a week?
Just 1 week.
Well, weeks are good. I mean, weeks good.
Yeah, and
It's not 2 weeks, but it's not 3 days either.
right, and it's going to be in the summer. It's going to be in February, after we see each other, and because it's going to be summer down there.
Yeah.
So that could be, well, it's even as far south as Sydney, it doesn't get super hot. So
Huh. I didn't realize that.
yeah, it gets up to maybe like 80 degrees or something.
Remind me in another conversation to talk about the Australian penal system. And when we hosted at my nonprofit an Australian woman who was touring the country. And in that other conversation, I'll show you the carved ostrich egg that she gave me when she left. But it didn't end well because of what I said to her about the way that her plans were treating the Aborigines.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, I mean, talk about a penal colony. Talk about a penal colony. That's like
Yeah.
what Australia was.
Is
Well-
you know, you've got a whole ethnic group of people that refuses to succumb to modern expectations of ownership and connection to the land, and it's just like, you know, they might as well be from another planet. They're being treated like they're aliens, and they lock them up. And the plan was that they were going to create these village-like prison areas that face the proper way for these land, earth, wind, and fire kind of praising ethnic Aborigines, so that they were facing the proper way for prayer and whatnot. And the design was supposed to be more humane. And I said to her, I said, well, and so if they're safe enough to live in that little community, why don't you just let them
be.
live at home?
Uh-huh.
And whatever you spend here put somebody in the village to help these people, because you're spending $640 million, whatever it was, to build these prisons, and just give them each, $2,000 every 5 years and watch what happens. But it was, anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just.
Did you know that there is an Aboriginal language where they don't have terms for like left and right and forward and backwards?
No.
Where they talk literally, they say north, south, east, and west. So they will say, "Can you hand me the glass that is to the north of the loaf of bread?" And they talk like that, but like the consequence of that is that at all times they have to know what the cardinal directions are, and they do, and you can bring them inside a building and walk them down corridors left and right and turning, and they will still know exactly which way is north, south, east and west, because that's the way they think is in terms of that.
They've sharpened that ability to the point of another sense.
Right, because that's the way they orient everything. It's not like they don't have, like the problem we have is I say that's over there on the right and my right is your left, and we have some confusion there. But if we say over there on the east or on the northeast or whatever, then we don't have that communication problem. And it's,
in person, you mean?
In person, yes.
Yeah, but not like in this current setting, because I have no idea I know where I'm sitting facing south. I know that, but I don't have any idea how you are. Tell me.
I mean, I thought...
Are you facing south, or are you facing north?
As something of respect, I'm facing west towards you right now, but you're looking in a totally different direction. Yeah, the Aboriginals don't know much about video conferences. That would confuse the hell out of them. Because
well,
because they didn't, but yeah. So you're facing south, looking at your camera right now.
Looking at I've got to tell you something, that you have on a two-tone shirt and your dark shoulders blend into your background a little bit, and so if I look at you just a certain way, it looks like you've got this really tiny little skinny little gray body and your head seems over large, which is unnerving. So don't wear that shirt anymore. You're blending in. It's too weird.
Well, I'll have to put a green screen behind me so we can put up like a Caribbean beach location or whatever.
The new movie, The Irishman, and the new techniques they use to de-age. You're all familiar with that stuff, right?
You have referenced it before, and I understand that that's a thing that is possible with tech. But yes.
Okay, I don't want to talk about that.
Well, why'd you fucking bring it up then? Jesus.
I'm just kidding. I was just joking. Jesus, don't be so serious. God.
So I saw a meme today that was 6-year-olds laugh 300 times a day, and grown-ups only laugh between 15 and 100 times a day. And so, ergo, you should be more like a 6-year-old. And I looked at that and I was like, that doesn't make a lot of sense, because I actually live with a 6-year-old. He hasn't laughed just 300 times a day. That's not good science. So I went and I Googled, and it turns out, that was totally made up by
somebody wanted
not even researcher. Yeah, it wasn't even that, but it was just and also, like, Lord knows, a 6-year-old, my 6-year-old in a loving, safe household is relatively very, very happy and can laugh all he wants. But there are so many. If you're talking about average 6-year-old experience in the world, there's a whole bunch of 6-year-olds that have it way worse than my 6-year-old.
I know why the stats are off.
But then I Googled, and it turns out that someone just like made that up off the cuff,
but
giving a talk somewhere.
You know why it would be higher anyway? It's because of the clown cities and clown towns where
Clown
they're all
towns.
clowns. And so the 6-year-olds are laughing nearly 100% of the time. And that throws the stats off for the rest of us. If you've never...
Wait, is the mayor also a clown
Fuck yeah.
of Clowntown?
Yeah.
Okay.
What would it be?
I don't know.
Everyone's... Yeah.
They're all clowns,
weird.
except for the 6-year-olds grow into clowniness.
Remarkably quick.
So it's not genetic;
Little
it's
salad
environmental.
apples. It's both.
Oh, they're like
environmental.
little tadpoles that then grow their
Species.
clown nose.
Species. They're like little joeys.
Clowntown. Well,
So
Clowntown,
what they
USA.
call- you know what they call their young in Clowntown? Because you were asking me earlier. You may remember what they call their young.
Ha-has. No, I don't know.
Jackies. Little Jackies.
Little Jackies. Well, that makes 100% sense. I think
It's easy for
that
you.
belongs on Wikipedia.
Hey,
Hey,
you're right.
because you
That's the place to go. You write your own shit in Wikipedia.
right. So
Should-
we need an
Type it
article.
up.
We need an article about
About our
the
show.
Clowntown phenomenon.
The Clowntown phenomena.
Oh, there's more than one phenomena.
Oh God, yeah.
Phenomena.
Everyone has its own little story. But
But still one
Anyway,
phenomenon.
but
If
that's-
there's
and
many
it-
clown towns.
what's that?
If there's many clown towns, it's still one phenomenon. But
No.
if there are more,
No,
there are
it's not
multiple.
just about towns. It's
multiple-
about certain segments of our society that aren't actual towns. There's a whole woven clown presence throughout all of our societies. It's a bit, it's noticeable when you start to look and see it. I don't know if you do, but I certainly do. So it's just, no, so it is phenomena,
Okay.
clown phenomena.
Here's a question for you. Are you familiar with the term juggalo?
Juggalo, it's a juggler who sleeps with a lot of women.
No. So there's this crazy thing. There was this band called Insane Clown Posse,
Oh yes, I'm familiar with the band quite a bit.
and but their fans are called juggalos, and they dress up as clowns and cause trouble. I mean,
Clown trouble or deeper trouble?
Well, I think historically they've done some vandalism and naughty things, but and there have been some violent altercations. But it's this sort of culture where it's, well, properly said, it's a subculture where people, there's like these signals where you can like let other people know that you are one of these people that likes to dress up as clowns to do other things, to, I don't know, to go out and have parties and stuff and listen to this
Right.
band. But
Right.
it's I will not say anymore because I really don't know anymore, but I will link to this in the show notes. There's this thing.
You have more restraint than I do. Not
you-
knowing something about something doesn't stop me from talking about it.
Well, as I said, I think was this last episode. I said I don't know a lot about a lot of things or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, there's it's, you were talking about clown phenomena, and that came into my head.
Yes.
Much in the same way
Yes,
that when
well,
I talk about something,
there we
crazy
are.
shit comes into your head. So
Yes. And so with that, my friend, our hour is up. I have to go play some blues.
well,
Got to go.
sorry to give you the blues.
Best part of my day, my friend.
All right, I will see you next time on
Next
Happy
time
Hour.
at-
Happyhour.fm. Ba-dum bum bum. Cue the music. Oh man, another episode is over already. Well, I just wanted to hop in here and remind you that you can go to happyhour.fm and see all of our episodes. And you can go to patreon.com/happyhour and throw us a little bit of money. It would really mean a lot to Dennis and me, and it would ensure that we can keep this podcast going. So I hope you had fun listening to us say silly things, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.